All right, so we're starting off with Bitcoin here on the daily chart. Still trapped inside of this channel. Now, we've been talking about this channel for a while, this downwards sloping channel here. Now, I've kind of moved this around a little bit. I was lining up the resistance points, and I've decided to line up the support points. And the reason that I've done that is because we have a lot of confluence or a lot of interest in the middle of this channel here. So it acted as support right here, acted as resistance, resistance, support, support, resistance, resistance, and support. There's just a lot of price action and a lot of activity in the middle of this channel right here. So it's certainly noteworthy. And I think that it's a little bit more valid lining up the supports of this downward sloping channel than lining up the resistances. So with that in mind, bearing that fact in mind, we look at the middle here, and it looks as though we're breaking out of the middle of that channel. So we have said here on the channel for a while that you know, we could expect an up move to about the $30,000 range. There's a lot of confluence up in that area. You know, come up here, encounter some resistance that was, you know, created. There's actually a ton of support, now resistance at this level, but come up to that $30,000 level before getting another move down, and that would also carry us to the top of the channel. You can see that we are getting a positive response off of this weekly close, this low that we had back here in June. We are getting a positive close off of that level, a little bit of a wick down, and now you know, some demand. So if we do close this week out, which happens in about 2.5 days, if we close this week out with kind of a green hammer candle, that's a pretty bullish candle. So you know, it further fuels the narrative, or fuels the possibility of us getting that rally that we've been talking about for months, where we get that bearish test up to $25,000 to $30,000 level. Certainly, I don't expect us to be going into a bull market. I would just be looking for that kind of bear market rally condition, which, you know, you would be better off looking to the short side than trying to play the long side. No volume increase on the daily, no volume increase on the 3-day. The 3-day chart, as far as alphanumerics, is hinting towards us getting a little bit of a rally as well. If we do close this candle, which closes today in about 17 hours, if we close that above the 7 EMA, we could absolutely come up and test the 30, test the 50. So get that kind of move up to 26, 25, like we've mentioned already. Taking a look at Ethereum battling with this level. We've established this kind of upsloping resistance. This is kind of the ice. It's a very messy consolidation. I'm going to turn alphanumerics off for a moment, but you know, the consolidation itself is ugly. You know, it's not much of an accumulation. We kind of had this up thrust move with a sign of weakness right here. Not ideal. LPSY now trapped under our ice and coming in for our bearish test. Now, I will say that the market is very illiquid. So as people, you know, and we have the merge coming up, but you know, the market's illiquid, so you can get a lot of variance on either side of a support / resistance level. So just because you get on top of support doesn't mean that you're going to hold on top of support, but I could see the possibility of us getting on top of this support line. If we can consolidate and hold a few days there, then again, you've built that ability, you've built that that technical green light to get a potential move up to $2,200 to $2,500 in Ethereum. All right, now another one that kind of paints an interesting picture for me is Ethereum BTC. So the Ethereum Bitcoin pair. So this is, you know, the performance of Ethereum when compared to Bitcoin. And this consolidation, you know, we've been battling this kind of level for a while. Let's actually drag this out. It's been a while since I've looked at this chart. Let's actually give it something like that, maybe. It's been a while since I've looked at this, but we're up against resistance in multiple areas here. So you could be looking at something like a head and shoulders formation. So possible rejection here. If we start to reject here on the weekly, I would anticipate that this would give us a move down, probably down to here. which is indicating to me that, like, to me, this is a bearish setup. This is a bearish setup. It's an up thrusty action, declining volume overall. So I would lean more bearish on this consolidation than I would bullish. And that kind of just leans into the whole thing that I've been saying for months now, that I think the Ethereum merge is going to be a clusterfuck. I think it's going to be very bearish. There's just not going to be enough demand to carry forwards, especially with the expectation. The narrative has not dropped. The narrative has not gone away. People are hanging on to that narrative that the Ethereum merge is going to be basically the same as, 4 or 5 Bitcoin halvings. And what people fail to realize is supply is only half of the equation. It's supply and demand, right? So yes, less issuance will have an effect on the market. Less issuance will have an effect on supply and demand. But if there's already no demand in the market, if demand is already incredibly low and incredibly suppressed, then does messing with the issuance, the day-to-day issuance, even matter? Especially if the expectation, the demand that's holding so far, the expectation of this having an effect, if this doesn't have an effect, now people are going to give up on positions, especially if we start to head downwards in a very violent way. You're going to see people ditch on positions really, really quickly, because what's going to happen is people are going to think that the Ethereum merge is a failure and that it's killing Ethereum. So price is really going to drive the narrative for the Ethereum merge. It's a very big deal. It's a very complicated adjustment that they're making, and fundamentally I disagree with it. There's plenty of bearish things that you could point to with it. But yeah, price is really going to push the narrative. If it's successful and price rallies, it's going to probably result in a rally. If it is not successful and price dumps, ooh, it's going to be ugly. I mean, honestly, we could be looking at a $500 Ethereum, which would be absolutely fantastic. I would love that. But yeah, it could get ugly. And I'm not here, it's coin flip. It's a coin flip. Like, I'm not speculating. I'm not picking a side. The only thing that I know is that it's going to be volatile. So that's the only call that I'm making here. It can go up, it can go down. There's a lot of unknowns. It's really dependent upon the execution and the following narrative. All right, so to recap, we need to see a rally in the NASDAQ. I want to see this continue up to around 13. We got to break past this resistance right here at around 12, 13. If we can get on top of 13 will be very, very positive for the NASDAQ. So watch the rally here, watch this structure. Further from that, we need to continue this bounce off of this support level on the S&P. And we want to see a breakdown in the DXY. So if the DXY can start to close below, let's say 105. So if the DXY gets below 105, that's going to be really bullish for the potential of a consolidation. And if the DXY is consolidating, then stocks can go back to risk on. And if stocks are risk on, then crypto's risk on. The Ethereum BTC pair looking like a very nasty rejection is brewing. Ethereum also in the rejection zone, and Bitcoin potentially has room to rally. Lots of overhead room here. I just don't think that there's enough demand to really carry it forwards to the 30K mark without cooperation from the NASDAQ and the S&P 500. So we're still in traditional finance world right now. It is dictating the sentiment of the herd. If the herd becomes comfortable with risk, we will see those types of moves inside of cryptocurrency. So thank you all for joining in, and please don't forget to hit the like and follow along on Twitch. Also, if you have an Amazon Prime subscription, do me a favor and subscribe to the Twitch channel. Costs you nothing, helps give me a kickback, and it's free with your Amazon Prime subscription. So yeah, free for you. Helps me out, helps support the channel so that I can continue to bring you unbiased and honest analysis. So thank you all for joining in, and please trade safe. It is a jungle out there. Peace.